today we're going to be talking about problems that include the keywords solution, solve, or value. So if you see the word solution, solve, or value in a STAR question, there's a possibility that you'll be able to do this trick. The second thing we're looking for is if it has one equal sign. So if we have a problem that contains one of these three words and it has one equal sign, then it's worth trying this trick. It likely will work. Just a quick reminder as well, you need to go to desmos.com/practice and make sure you select the right practice exam so that you're practicing on the correct form of Desmos. So let's get started. So step one, well, let's show you guys the problem first. So let's go ahead and just go through a couple different types of problems that we could see on the STAR test. So the first type of problem that you could see is pretty basic. It'll simply say, what is the solution to the following equation? So we see that keyword, and I'll highlight just that keyword. You see that keyword solution. And then we do see that it has just one equal sign here. So since we have the word solution and just one equal sign, that means we can go ahead and try these steps and see if we can get an answer. So step one is to open Desmos calculator. Step two, which we have done. Step two is to graph only the left side of the equation. So we're going to type in y equals the left side of the equation, whatever the left side may be. So we're looking here and we see our left side right here, and we can zoom in just a little bit. So we are going to graph y equals the left side, which is -5 x minus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in here. So y equals, it's very important that we add the y equals because there are occasions where if the y equals is not there, it will not work. So it's a good practice to go ahead and add it in every time. Okay, so we see our line pop up. If we see this red squiggly right here that's right next to the y, that means that our line is somewhere on the graph. So if you don't see it, you can always zoom in and out until you find it. We found our line. Now we need to go to the next step. So next step is in the next line, graph only the right side of the equation. So now, we'll change colors. Now we're going to graph only the right side of the equation, which is -37 plus 8x. So again, it's good practice to go ahead and do y equals. Right, so our second line should be y equals the right side of the equation. Y equals -37 plus 8x. And I'll go ahead and add this up here for reference as well. So y equals the right side. So we're graphing two things. Y equals the left side and y equals the right side. So let's go ahead and add this in. So y equals -37 plus 8x. And again, we see this blue squiggly pop up next to the y, which means that it is somewhere on the graph a blue line. And what we are looking for, if we look at the next step, right here, it says there should be two lines popping up. If not, check that X was the correct letter used. So we'll see some problems they'll have a different letter, and we want to make sure that we're using X every time. Also, it could be that you forgot your y equals, so make sure to check that. But if both your lines are popping up, then we can go ahead and skip to step number 5, which is to look for the intersection or where the lines cross. The x value of the intersection is our solution. So the cool thing about Desmos, especially on the computers that you guys have, is that it is touchscreen, so you can move it around till you find that intersection, and then you can click right on it, and you'll see that gray dot pop up. And you can click on it, and we notice that we get this point for -5. When we have one equal sign, that means that we only have one answer, and it is only the x value of the answer. So even though it does have two numbers, it shows us two numbers, 4 and -5. 4 is the x value of that point because points are written as x comma y. So 4 would be my x value and y would be my y value. And since we only have one equal sign, we only need the x value, which means the solution to this equation is x equals 4. So that is how we do the solution with one equal sign. Let me show you just a couple other problems that you could run into. So STAR is very tricky sometimes, and they do word questions a little bit differently. Let me get this box highlighted, and we're gonna... Okay, so just because the question is worded differently does not mean that we're gonna do anything different. We just need to understand that STAR language. So this question, it says, what value of n makes the equation true? So value is still one of our keywords. So value is one of our keywords up here. And then we're going to check for how many equal signs we have, and we have only one equal sign. So we have the word value and one equal sign, so we can still do the same trick. I'm not going to do this one because it is exactly the same as number 1. Number 3, the last type of question that you could see, move this box out of the way, is a question that includes a quadratic term, which is this little squared term. But again, all you need to know is that we see the word solution. Oh, change the highlighter. We see the word solution, and then we see the one equal sign. So that still indicates that even though this little confusing piece makes us think that it's a different type of question, it is not a different type of question. We're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to do y equals the left side. And then we're also going to graph y equals the right side. And it's important that you don't change any value. You do want to change the letter, though, or the variable. So instead of that n, I'm actually going to change it to an x. So I'm going to rewrite this to read 8x squared plus 9 is equal to 657. Our graph just tends to like x's better. Sometimes different letters will work, but for the most part, we really do like to change it to x. So what we're going to do here is we're going to graph y equals the left side. So we're going to graph y equals 8x squared plus 9. And we're going to graph y equals the right side, 657. I'm going to close out of these two. We're going to do y equals 8x squared plus 9. And notice our green little squiggly popped up. That means our line is somewhere even though we don't see it yet. And we got y equals 657. So we're looking for a green and purple line. So we see our green, and we notice that it's a U, which is a parabola, which is caused by this squared term. So that little squared term is what made it a parabola type problem. So we're going to zoom all the way out because 657 is pretty far out. And we're going to zoom in, and notice here, before we only had one solution. So the green and the purple, or the blue and the red on the last problems only crossed once. But on this problem, we actually see that we crossed at 2 different places, which is perfectly okay. That just means we have more than one solution. So a solution is wherever the 2 lines cross, no matter how many times that may be. So we get these 2 points. We get negative 9, 657. And we get 9, 657. But remember, since we're only dealing with that one equal sign, we only care about the x value of the problem. So we've got these 2 x values, these 2 y values. So we only care about the x values. We do not care about the y value, and we only have one equal sign. So we actually have 2 answers to this problem. We have negative 9 and 9. And you'll see it written like this a lot of the time. It just means that both of those are answers. And that is it. So just a quick review. If we see the words solution, solve, or value, so any of these 3 words, and then we also see one equal sign, then we can go through these steps and find the answer to the problem.